As the sun set, ending just another normal day, the Johnson family was doing their usual evening stuff. Mr. Johnson, a friendly man who loved books, was reading a novel, his glasses sitting dangerously on the tip of his nose. Mrs. Johnson, a small woman with a bright smile, was cleaning up the kitchen. Their two kids, Noah and Lily, were upstairs working on their school stuff. Their house, a nice old Victorian-style place, was tucked away at the end of the street. It was made of wood, which made it look really old, especially with the plants growing up the sides. But at night, under the light of the moon, the house looked a little bit spooky. The shadows from the big trees in the yard made it look more like a haunted house than a family home. The Johnsons had no idea that their usual evening was about to get weird. While they happily did their things, something creepy was hiding in the dark, dusty corners of their favorite house, waiting for the right time to show up. Odd events had become part of their daily life, but what happened tonight made everything feel scarier. As night covered the world, a creepy coldness fell on the house, a coldness that was too strong to ignore. The family, who once didn't care, now faced the harsh truth that they weren't alone in their home. It wasn't just the moving shadows or quiet whispers that got their attention, but a strange feeling of someone else being there. This feeling was scary and uncomfortable. It felt like invisible eyes were always watching them, checking every move they made. Footsteps could be heard when no one was there, and things moved by themselves, stirring up fear in the quiet night. The home's walls seemed to shake from this unseen presence, its usual warmth replaced with a scary, cold feeling. The never-ending feeling of being watched was not just worrying, but very scary. The house didn't feel like a safe place anymore. Instead, it felt like a stage for an unseen observer, creating a deep feeling of fear. A scary creature, maybe a ghost or monster, was making lots of loud, scary noises and breaking the quiet of the night. It was throwing stuff around with a force we couldn't see, breaking things wherever it went. An old vase, a special family item, was thrown and broke against the wall. Pictures fell off their hooks and landed on the floor. The whole house seemed to shake, like the creature was mad and shaking it. During all this, a family member got hurt. This sudden and scary event made the whole family feel scared and confused as they tried to understand what was happening. They found a scary message written in an old, strange language they could barely understand on their bathroom mirror. This message showed that their scary situation was not over yet. Right now, the family is living in constant fear, knowing well that they are in the hands of a ghost that won't stop causing them trouble. The house was filled with scary, strange noises that seemed to live and echo through the long, dark hallways and old, cluttered rooms. The weird whispers, like a hard-to-understand murmur, drifted through the cold, moist air, giving the people living there goosebumps. These whispers were creepy, sometimes sounding like their own names being called from somewhere deep and unknown, ghost-like murmurs that seemed to warp reality itself. At times, these whispers became even scarier, sounding like threats spoken in soft, ghostly growls, which made them very afraid. The family was trying really hard to understand these ghostly whispers, to make sense of this scary sound ordeal. As each hour passed, their fear only grew stronger and more intense. Suddenly, the lights turned off and the house became dark. It wasn't just normal darkness. It was scary, as if it was alive and took away all the light. The family was very scared. They could feel it, a chilling feeling on their skin. The ghost made its presence known in this complete darkness. Just the thought of a ghost being there was enough to make them shiver with fear. The ghost was there, hiding in the darkness, making the house a very scary place that was more than just without light. In the middle of the night, one of the kids' eyes started to glow like a bright light. The kid began to change in a surprising way. His voice, which was once soft and childlike, became harsh and scary, making sounds that nobody could understand. It was like he was speaking in an old language no one knows, his words making everyone who heard them feel scared. The family was so afraid they could hardly hold him down. Their home, which was once peaceful, was now like a battlefield. They found themselves fighting against a scary, invisible enemy. The family was trying hard to soothe the child, but the ghostly power was too overwhelming. They were caught in an unexpected struggle, a fight against evil forces, showing up through their own kid. Each effort to talk, to connect with the child, was met with scary resistance. They tried to stay hopeful, quickly reaching out to the local church and asking for an emergency exorcism. A priest was brought in, a religious man, to fight the bad spirit that had taken over their child. The rituals were done, Holy water was sprayed and prayers were said in hopes of waking up their child's trapped spirit. But the extreme fear of the situation had made them powerless and completely scared, to a point where they didn't know what the future would bring. Their world was filled with a type of fear that was completely new to them, a fear that was very real. The fight against this possessed child was affecting their mental health. The family was trying to fall asleep, but their fear kept them wide awake. Each person was dealing with their own fears, their worst nightmares becoming real. The night turned into a terrifying scene. Their sleep was disturbed by ghosts, images of their deepest fears. The fear was always there, a scary figure that twisted their dreams and kept them from falling into a peaceful sleep. The family was in urgent need of help. They asked everyone they could think of. They went to every neighbor's house hoping that someone would listen and help. They even asked their best friends, the ones they had lots of fun and shared lots of memories with. They also went to their local church, praying loudly for God's help. But they didn't just ask for help from those they knew. They also tried to find people who knew about ghosts and spirits, staying up late to find someone on the internet who could help. They went to many spiritual meetings, hoping to find a solution to their problem. But no matter how hard they tried, no one listened to them. Either they didn't believe them or they were too afraid to help. Stuck in this scary and cold reality, they felt alone. The family had to leave their home and ended up living in local hostels. They were in a strange place, sleeping in beds that didn't feel like their own. They were scared, and their dreams were filled with memories of the scary things that happened in their old house. The ghost in their old house felt like it was still there with them, even in their new places. The wind seemed to whisper, the floors would creak at night, and there were strange shadows that reminded them of the ghost. These hostels, where they were staying for now, weren't comforting places. The areas were new to them and created an uneasy feeling. They would wake up at weird times, noticing strange movements and hearing odd noises. Each new weird thing made them more scared and reminded them of the scary things at their old house. Living like this was costing them a lot of money. The price of staying in these places was eating away at what they had left. Every morning they were reminded that they were running out of money and couldn't keep living this way. The fear of going back to their old haunted house was always there. It was a constant reminder of the ghost that was still causing trouble for them. Even though they tried hard to forget about their past, they felt like they were being drawn back to the ghost in their old house. During their tough journey to sell their house, the family faced many problems. All their attempts to attract a buyer ended in surprise. People would come to see the house, but something strange in the house would scare them away. A cold breeze when there was no wind, a sudden strange noise in the silence, an unexplained discomfort. All these weird happenings turned people away. It seemed like the family was stuck in a strange problem, where unseen chains kept them tied to their house. With no way out, they felt trapped in a situation they could not control. Suddenly, the family was gone. Their once busy and cheerful house became silent and creepy. The for sale sign outside was a quiet reminder that they left without warning. A quick, handwritten note was found on the family's dining table, a sad reminder of their last moments. Their personal things once loved were found all over the place as if they were dropped a rush. The mystery around their sudden disappearance was confusing and scary, knowing what could have happened to them. The family started a brave mission. They wanted to film the ghost that had been haunting them. They bravely set up cameras all over their house, hoping to catch the ghost on tape. Everyone in the family helped with this big project. They wanted to show everyone what they were experiencing. They ended up getting a really scary video. The ghost wasn't just a blurry shape, but a clear figure that moved in a spooky way. The video also showed things moving on their own, weird lights and voices with no source. The family had captured the scary situation they were living in, but sadly, they were too late to show the shocking evidence of the haunting to others. One scary night, a loud, terrifying scream came from the house next door, shocking everyone around. They set out to find out where the noise came from and found something truly scary. The friendly-looking house next door was now covered in a frightening darkness, with the door slightly open. A cold air hung around them as they navigated their way through the pitch-dark house. Amidst the dark, they found strange symbols scratched onto the walls and other signs of violence. As they went further inside the house, a strange, cold feeling surrounded them, making their hearts race with fear. Terrified, they ran back, hearts pounding as they scrambled for their phones in the dark, eager to call the police. The scary scene they found that night made them permanently afraid. turning their peaceful neighborhood into a constant reminder of the scary event that happened in the once happy house next door.